So the things I desire to accomplish within the film world change from day to day. I get ideas that come to my mind when I'm borderline falling asleep. Sometimes I write them down in a notepad on my iPhone while squinting my eyes at that extremely bright phone screen. Other times I just let myself drift off to sleep and figure I'll just write it down in the morning when I wake up. Then the morning comes, and did I write it down? No. In fact, I don't even remember the idea at this point, so most likely that idea is gone forever, unless it just so happens to spring into my head again at some other random inconvenient time, like when I'm driving down the highway at 80 miles per hour. Not a time where I can just pull my phone out and jot it down. My dream career path, though, I'd say would ultimately be having the amazing opportunity to write, direct, and even act in some of my own feature films. To see my work shown on major film networks like Netflix and Hulu, and even on the big screen in theaters, that would definitely be an ultimate dream come true. So, for me, these 5 pillars for finding your life's task really resonate with me and how I've handled the last decade or so of my life. I'm 36 years old now, going on 37 in January, and I kind of feel like I'm doing now what I should have done 20 years ago. Better late than never, I guess, but return to your origins. I can remember growing up, for starters, always being fascinated with Superman. Anything Superman. I still am. But more than that, I was always intrigued when I saw any behind-the-scenes movie specials, because with Superman as well, I was always curious how they made him fly. Because when I was really young, I tended to believe some pretty naive things, like he was really flying, or he really had superhuman strength, and yeah, I even thoroughly believed that he could shoot laser beams from his eyes. But Green says that in order to master a field, you must love the subject and feel a profound connection to it. As I grew up and the more I watched those behind-the-scenes specials, the more I learned and fell in love with the art and the idea of creating people and worlds and scenarios that can make people laugh, can make people cry, and it can even make people angry. So for me, that goes along well with the first 2 pillars. Return to your origins and occupy the perfect niche. Filmmaking is my niche. Now the last 3 pillars kind of hit home in a different way. I feel like I let myself follow false paths for many years. Rather than pursue what I love and find a way to make a living off of it, I continue to let myself stay stuck in the world of the restaurant industry. Going from server to cook to management and pretty much everything in between, I actually became sick of food in general for a little bit, believe it or not. I believed and listened to those that said that it's impossible to make any money unless you're lucky in the film industry. So feeling discouraged, I didn't pursue it. Now, Green talks about how a false path in life is generally something we're attracted to for the wrong reasons. And in this case, it was a little of both. A fear for lack of money in the pursuit of a film career, and security in the fact that the food industry is something that will quite literally always be needed. About 3 years ago now, a friend of mine sort of re-sparked that inner flame that got me into filmmaking in the first place. We made several short films together and had a blast doing it. I began researching schools that I could go to that offered film classes. Upon further research and getting recommendations about Full Sail, I enrolled and began my journey getting my bachelor's degree in digital cinematography. Near the end of my studies there, I went through a pretty rough breakup. It was really tough, to say the least, on some days, just pulling through and mustering up the strength to fight through the tears and that just feeling of emptiness to complete what I set out to do. But honestly, through even just this first chapter of our reading, that sort of helped spark something inside of me again that makes me feel like if I follow through with these 5 strategies, letting go of my past will ultimately also help me find my way back to the career path of my dreams. One thing that stands out to me the most that I need to focus on in particular more is when Green says that the road to mastery requires patience. Everything I've talked about here, letting go of the pain in the past so I can move on to a better future, continuing my education, finding my dream career. None of that can happen overnight. So to close on this, here are my 2 SMART goals that I'm setting myself for the course of the next 3 weeks. Number 1, I'm going to research at least 5 professionals in the film industry with similar film styles and connect with them on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Number 2, I'm going to reach out to at least 5 possible film companies for internships or part-time remote editing work.